Hello. I hope there is no confusion for this live stream. When I first tried to click on it to go live, it didn't want to start, so I closed out of my tab and opened it again. So I hope that didn't mess anything up. I'm Miss Carla, and I'm going to continue reading Lety Out Loud by Angela Cervantes. I remember. I wanted to mention, before I forget, that Friday night, I believe it was, I posted a video on our YouTube channel of making some cookies that I've been making since I was a little kid with my family. They're called no-bake cookies, so you don't have to put them in the oven. You cook them on a stovetop in a little pot or a saucepan. So if you are interested in that, take a look at that video. It's on our channel, and it's I believe I added it to the playlist called Crafts and Activities or something like that. So take a look. It was fun. They turned out wonderfully. They were delicious. All right, so Lety Out Loud by Angela Cervantes, and thank you to Scholastic for permission to read aloud. Last time I used my little Wild Things bookmark. There he is, holding my spot on chapter 6. And you can't see her right now, but today I have my cat Charlie sitting next to me. She looks pretty comfortable, so if she gets frustrated or something, she might try to get in the video, and then you'll see her. Oliver is sitting over here on the floor paying attention too, so he might try to cause some trouble. We'll see. Chapter 6 is called Fair and Square. Lety, Brisa! Kennedy screamed in panic when they walked into the multi-purpose room. She rushed up to them with a paper in her hand. Hunter and Mario say that we agreed yesterday that they would give you 5 words too. I don't remember agreeing to that, Kennedy said, glaring at the 2 boys. "Kay?" Brisa exclaimed. "No way," she said, raising a finger at the sky. "Are those their words?" Lety asked, grabbing the paper from Kennedy's hands. Kennedy nodded. "They're ridiculous," Kennedy said, just as the boys joined them. "She agreed to it," Mario said. "You can't change the rules." "You are the rule changers," Brisa sniped. Lety scanned the 5 words Hunter had picked for her to use in the animal profiles. A lump formed in her throat. She wasn't familiar with any of them. They were from another universe as far as she was concerned. Kennedy snatched the paper from Lety's hands and waved it accusingly at Hunter and Mario. "Come on! Supersonic? Infectious? Rigid? Where did you get these stupid words? And how is Lety supposed to use colossal and fusion in the animal profiles?" "You don't play fair, Hunter," Brisa added. "How am I not being fair?" Hunter said. He grasped the baseball hat on his head in exasperation. "You get to choose words for me, but I'm not allowed to pick words for you?" "You're the one that bragged about writing at a high school level," Kennedy said. "Can I see the words you have for me?" Hunter said to Lety, ignoring Kennedy's scowl. Lety pulled her book bag off and dipped her hands into a side pocket for the paint swatch. Kennedy and Brisa also pulled out small notepads with scribbled words. "Your first word is rambunctious," Kennedy said. "Easy enough," Hunter said with a shrug, and jotted it down on his phone. "Gush and beckon," Brisa offered. "More easy words," Hunter said, and scoffed. "Seriously, Hunter?" Kennedy said. "How about scrumptious?" Brisa added. "I love how that word sounds, don't you? Good luck using it, Hunter." "Easiest word in the world." "Cerise," Lety said. Hunter's smug smile twisted into a frown. "Is that even a real word? That doesn't sound like English," he said. "We have to use English words." "It is English," Lety said. "It is a deep pink color. I have it here." She showed him the paint swatch. "See? Sweet cerise." "I don't think so. Give him Another word, Mario said. It sounds like cereza, which is cherry in Spanish, but cerise is an English word, Lety said. I don't think it should count, Hunter said to Mario. It sounds like Spanish or French. Oh, because you don't use any Spanish-sounding words? Kennedy snapped. Last year, you had a piñata birthday party. With the robot piñata, remember? Where do you think piñata comes from? Lety and Brisa exchanged a look of surprise. They were used to not being invited to classmates' birthday parties, unless it was an ELL students' party, but they didn't know about Hunter's piñata party, nor that Kennedy had gone to it. She had never mentioned it to them. It's a borrowed Spanish word, or did you not learn that in all those high school level books you supposedly read? Kennedy said with so much snarky attitude that Hunter's face turned cherry red. Okay, fine, whatever, Hunter said with a shrug. He directed his gaze at Lety. I'll use your words. Do you agree to use our 5 words in the animal profiles then? That wasn't part of the deal, you guys, Kennedy said, crossing her arms over her chest. Lety, you don't have to agree to anything. We can go have a conversation with Dr. Villalobos right now about this whole shelter scribe contest. Mario gasped. You can't do that. We might get kicked out, and my grandma paid a lot for this camp, Hunter said. So don't even think about it, Kennedy. Lety wanted to say that her family paid a lot too, but she didn't want to sound like a copycat, repeating anything Hunter said. You should think about that before you make up new rules then, Kennedy said. Lety felt like she was in a Mexican telenovela where all the characters are in the courtroom. In this episode, Kennedy was a fearless lawyer defending Lety. On the other side of the court stood the villains, Hunter and Mario. Yet Lety didn't feel like the victim needing defending. Even though the words Hunter came up with seemed impossible, Lety wanted the chance to compete with Hunter fair and square. If she won, she'd win because she helped the shelter's dogs and cats find their forever homes. She gathered the words she wanted to say in her brain and spoke up. We're not going to tell, Lety said with a quick nod to Kennedy. I'll use their words, okay? Now let's get to work. Chapter 7 is called Not His Dog Anymore. Oh, do you see my cup that I have today? This is my mug. I don't know if you have read a certain series of books or seen a certain series of movies. You might recognize this hut. And this creature here, his name is Buckbeak. And here's some more. I think that's a unicorn and a centaur. Aha, and a certain Ford Anglia and a certain spider. Okay, sorry for interrupting the story. I just really love this mug. And I was thirsty. Not His Dog Anymore, Chapter 7. Alma held a piece of yellow tablet paper with the names of 10 dogs and cats. Here you go, she said, handing the paper to Lety. Remember, no longer than 100 words. Dr. V likes sweet and simple. We got it, Hunter said. Sweet and simple, Lety repeated, liking how those words sounded together. Good luck, Alma said, walking off to talk to some other volunteers. As soon as Alma was out of earshot, Lety gave the paper to Mario. With one quick rip, he passed both Lety and Hunter a list of 5 furry friends. May the best shelter scribe win, he said. Hunter dashed off with his list. Lety remained still, gazing over the names of her own furry friends. Her list included 3 cats, named Chicharito, Lorca, and Bandit, and 2 dogs, Finn, and a tiny Pomeranian mix named Bella. Brisa and Kennedy hovered close to her to see who she had. Oh, look, you get to write about that cute hat-hating dog, Brisa said excitedly. I wish I could help you, but we are making, what do you call it, Kennedy? Catnip pouches, Kennedy answered. Catnip pouches. So much fun, Brisa said, pulling on Lety's hand. Where will you go? I will start with Finn, Lety said. But I'll go to the cat room later, okay? Hasta luego, Capitan, Brisa said, turning on a thicker-than-usual Bolivian accent for extra drama. Lety giggled. Over the past 3 years, Lety had managed to lose most of her Mexican accent, shedding it as fast as she could, like it was an itchy polyester sweater. Brisa, on the other hand, clung to her Bolivian accent like it was the world's softest sweater made from silky alpaca fleece. Once, when Mrs. Camacho corrected Brisa's accent, Brisa quickly defended herself. She explained that her accent was her grandma's accent, and it was all she had left of Bolivia. She didn't want to give it up, too. Mrs. Camacho smiled and nodded. You hang on to that beautiful accent, Brisa Quispe. As the girls parted ways, it struck Lety that this was one of the few times this year she'd been without Brisa or Kennedy at her side. So far, all her summer days had been spent with them at Kennedy's neighborhood pool. Brisa's mom picked up Lety every day for the pool and camp. Now, Lety was on her own. For a moment, she second-guessed herself, wondering if it would have been easier to have just avoided the competition with Hunter and signed up to be a cat hero with her best friends. Was proving she could be a shelter scribe and write as well as him that important? Everything cool, Lety? Alma asked her. You're sort of zoning out. Lety looked up, surprised to find Alma there. She pocketed her list. I'm just thinking about what I'll write for Finn, she answered, followed by a nervous giggle. Take this for help. Alma handed Lety a flyer with Spike's picture on it. Gabby wrote it. You can use it as an example. This is, see, they made it to look like a little flyer that says Spike at the top. Hi, my name is Spike. I am a small black and white terrier mix that loves tug of war and my stuffed panda. I also enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was brought in by my former family because they thought I was too wild. Since coming to the shelter, I've learned to channel my energy into tricks. If you have friends over for dinner, I can shake their hands and roll over for them. My only dislikes are fleas, empty water bowls, and rainy days when I can't go outside and chase squirrels. Visit Furry Friend's animal shelter and take a chance on me. Lety quickly read it and laughed at the part where it said Spike disliked rainy days where he couldn't go outside to chase squirrels. Do you think Spike will be back? Lety asked, already missing sweet Spike. Definitely, Alma answered. He always comes back. That's sort of the problem. People adopt him, and then they say he's too wild. I'll never understand it. I love that dog, but I can't have him because we have a cat now, and they don't get along so well. Did you get your cat from here? Yep. Her name is Feather. She's a beauty. Alma pulled out her cell phone. Check her out. Lety leaned in to see an image of a majestic gray, tan, and white tabby with bright green eyes. Emerald green eyes, Lety said. She is so beautiful. She's the best cat ever, but she doesn't tolerate dogs. Can anyone adopt Spike? Sure, as long as Dr. Villalobos believes that you're kind and a good fit for Spike. How does he know if you are a good fit? Dr. Villalobos studies people. He watches their behavior, how they act, and everything they say. He thinks I'm super awesome, so obviously he's an excellent judge of character. Lety felt suddenly warm listening to Alma. She had a terrible thought. What if Dr. Villalobos found out about the contest? If Dr. Villalobos found out about the contest, would he think she wasn't fit to adopt Spike? They were supposed to be working together. She thought back to what Mario had said earlier about Gabby almost being kicked out from volunteering at the shelter. Lety didn't want to be kicked out. She wanted to be the best shelter scribe ever and help the animals. She also wanted to adopt sweet Spike. That was a joke, Alma said. You okay, chica? For a second, Lety considered asking Alma if it was true what Mario said about Gabby being kicked out, but she shoved the idea away. Alma was smart. She'd start to wonder why Lety was worried about being kicked out, and maybe bust them all. I think you are awesome, too. Thanks, Chica, Alma said with a big smile. You're not so bad yourself. Are you interested in Spike? Being his forever family? Yes, but my mom has to talk to my dad about it. Does he like dogs? Oh, yes, very much. When we lived in Mexico, he used to share his breakfast with the stray dogs. He even once built a doghouse for a neighbor. We were going to get a dog, but then he moved here and we came later. I know I just met you, but you seem like a good fit for Spike. Still, I'm not the one who decides. Dr. Villalobos is the one you have to impress. I'll try my best, Letty said. Thanks. She rushed off toward the bow wow zone. When she arrived, Hunter was already there. He stood motionless in front of a cage, as if mesmerized by the dog inside. Letty passed behind him toward Finn's cage, but Hunter never budged. He remained standing and staring at the large white dog. He didn't notice her. Hunter, Letty said, are you okay? Hunter snapped out of his daze and looked at Letty with sad, light brown eyes. He looks like my dog, Hunter said, gesturing at the white, gray Pyrenees/Labrador mixed breed dog who was chewing on a squeaky toy. I mean, she's not my dog anymore. Hunter's voice lowered and drifted off like he wasn't sure he should say any more. He continued to gaze at the dog. She's not your dog anymore? Letty asked softly. What happened? Hunter shrugged. Letty had only been at camp with Hunter for 2 days now, but she noticed he shrugged a lot. Brisa had already nicknamed him Mr. Shruggy Llama. The nickname made Letty laugh, but now she recognized something hidden behind Hunter's shrugs. Something so sad that not even words could express it. Letty was good at reading facial gestures, body language, and tone of voice. For her first year at school, these clues guided her and helped her learn English. She knew that Hunter's shrugs were meant to express that he didn't care or didn't know, but the shrugs were also replacing something that he did care about. Letty was certain it had something to do with his dog that wasn't his dog anymore. Hunter stayed silent, not answering Letty's question. She decided to try one more time. What was your dog's name? Gunner, Hunter answered, still focused on the dog in the cage. Letty glanced over at Finn, who was wagging his tail and looking up at her with golden brown eyes. She gave him a quick wink to let him know she'd be back. As she joined Hunter in front of the furry white dog's cage, Finn whined. Gunner, she said. That's cute. Am I saying it right? Hunter nodded. On the cage was a sheet of paper listing some facts about Sawyer, the white Pyrenees Labrador. Letty looked over his age, breed, and intake date, which was the date he was brought into the shelter. Poor Sawyer. He has been here since March. 5 months. Why hasn't anyone adopted him? He is so cute. Hunter shrugged. People are dumb, he mumbled. Letty wondered if he thought she was dumb. She clapped her hands at Sawyer, who immediately dropped his toy and walked up and pawed at the clear plastic barrier between them. Hello, sweet boy. She squatted down to be at eye level with him. You're a pretty boy. Yes, you are. Hunter squatted down next to her, and Letty noticed light brown freckles scattered over Hunter's cheeks like a connect the dots game. He's just like my dog, except that Gunner was a full-breed Great Pyrenees, Hunter said. She had a few little gray strands around her face, but mostly she was fluffy white like this one. I got her for my 5th birthday. She was just a puppy. How cute. She looked like a white bear, Hunter said with a nod. She was smart, too. Letty liked the way Hunter talked about his dog. When he spoke about her, his voice became as soft as Sawyer's white furry coat, and his brown eyes as glossy as Sawyer's wet nose. Do you know what you'll write? Letty asked. I've got some ideas, Hunter said. He opened his notebook and uncapped his pen. Finn let out a long, impatient whine, and they both laughed. "Sorry, Finn, I'm coming," Lety yelled, and stood up. Now Sawyer barked, as if pleading for her to stay and call him sweet names. "Sweet fluffy boy, Hunter will stay with you. He's going to write you an awesome profile." A faint smile crossed Hunter's face. Lety walked back to Finn's cage and jotted down notes on her small notepad. She stopped and glanced at Hunter. He remained on the floor across from Sawyer. His notebook was open, and his pen raced across and down the page with furious speed. She envied how easy it was for him. She wondered if Hunter could really read at a high school level, and if she'd ever be able to write as fast as him someday. Chapter 8. Sawyer Beckons. "It's amazing," Kennedy said after reading Hunter's animal profile for the large Great Pyrenees Labrador. The next day, the profile was already printed with a photograph of Sawyer and pinned up on the bulletin board in the shelter's reception area. "But there's no way I'm telling him that." "He used beckon," Brisa said softly. "Maybe he writes at the high school level like he said. ¿Qué piensas, Lety?" "I think maybe he does," she said, taking a deep breath before reading the profile. Sawyer. "Does my easygoing name beckon you to adopt me?" "No, not yet. Let me share a little more. I'm a 2-year-old Great Pyrenees Labrador mix with the best qualities of both dog breeds. The Pyrenees side is protective and a loving family dog. The Labrador side will want to get you on your feet for a run and a long walk along the lake. Hey, I'll even jump into the lake. I'm a great swimmer. I'm house-trained too, but be patient as I settle into my new home. Visit me at Furry Friends Animal Shelter today." "It is good," Lety said. "It sounds just like Sawyer." "Mario told me that Hunter is almost done with Scout's and Kenzie's profiles too," Kennedy said. "How far along are you?" Lety's head swirled. So far, she had only started Finn's profile. "I'm going to finish Finn today, and then I'll move on to Bella's profile, and then the cat's." "You have to get more done before the weekend. Weekends are big for adoptions. It's your best chance to win," Kennedy said. "Can you get at least 3 done? You could complete the last 2 over the weekend at the pool with us and have them ready on Monday. What do you think?" "No pressure," Brisa joked. Lety swallowed hard. Dr. Villalobos suddenly called everyone to take a seat. "Today, we're going to watch a film about dog aggression and how to behave if you're ever confronted with a hostile dog." Lety scooted her chair next to Brisa and Kennedy. She glanced at Hunter. From under his baseball cap, Hunter gave her a quick smile. She smiled back. Dr. V folded up one of his long sleeves and went around showing everyone a bite-sized scar on his arm with the date of 08/16/97 around it. "See this scar?" Some of the kids made yuck noises at the scar, while Mario rolled up his pant leg to show off his own scar. "Skateboard injury," Mario explained. Dr. V grimaced and told him to use knee pads. Everyone laughed. "I got this scar when I was in college," Dr. V said. "I was on my morning jog when a full-grown Doberman jumped out at me. Luckily, he just got my arm, and I was able to call for help and get free with no more than this ugly gash." "Did it hurt?" Kennedy asked. "Oh, yeah, it hurt like the dickens." Lety and Brisa passed each other clueless looks. They had never heard of anything hurting like the dickens before. Lety hoped she never felt anything that hurt like the dickens. It didn't sound good. "Animal shelters like ours are full of fluffy, sweet kittens and playful, adorable dogs. But unfortunately, not all dogs have been socialized to be good dogs. Some dogs behave aggressively because they've been neglected and abused or raised that way by humans. If ever you're confronted with one, I want you to know what to do," Dr. Villalobos said. "He is nice," Brisa said, as Dr. V switched on a video. The film started by showing dogs in various stages of aggression, displaying sharp teeth and letting out low growls. Lety pulled out Finn's profile. He definitely was not an aggressive dog. Finn was sweet and mostly quiet until someone wore a hat. but she didn't want to mention his hat-hating ways in the profile. She worried it would scare people away from adopting him. Instead, she described Finn's favorite blue blanket and noted his age and breed. She still needed to use one of the 5 words in his profile. She grabbed her dictionary and looked up colossal and fusion. Neither worked. She looked up infectious, rigid, and supersonic. She frowned and closed her dictionary just as the man in the film was giving tips on how to act when faced with an angry dog. "Don't move, stand rigid and be silent," the man advised. Most importantly, do not make eye contact with an angry dog, as it will see that as a challenge. Rigid. It was one of the words she was supposed to include in a profile. The man in the video had used rigid to mean stiff, but it also could mean being strict about rules. Letty's brain buzzed as she finally saw a way to fit rigid into the profile. She jotted down a few more notes about his favorite blanket. It was a soft blue fleece blanket that he dragged in his mouth from one corner of his cage to the other. After a few minutes, Finn's profile was finished. Finn. I am a sweet 2-year-old Labrador/Shepherd that gets along well with other dogs and people. At the shelter, I sleep on a periwinkle blue blanket, but I am not rigid about where I sleep. I will happily give up my favorite blanket to sleep at your home, my new forever home, and cuddle close to you. Visit me today at the Furry Friends Animal Shelter. Let's see. I think we'll do one more chapter. It's a short one. It's chapter 9, and it's called A Strong, Cool Wind. The next day, 3 new profiles were up on the Furry Friends Animal Shelter website. Hunter had finished a profile for Kenzie, the tan and white American pit bull. He used gush, Kennedy announced. I didn't think he'd find a way, but he did. The 3 girls huddled over a computer at the reception desk to view Kenzie's profile on the shelter's website. Kenzie. Hi, I'm a 4-year-old American pit bull mix. When people find out that I'm part pit bull, they walk straight past my cage. Even though I do my best to sit up straight and show off my big brown eyes, they don't stop to say hello. Will you pass me by too? If you stop, you'll see that I'm gentle and smart. The shelter staff gushes over me because I'm house-trained, and I've mastered walking on a leash. They also say I'm a patient girl, but I can't wait to meet you. Visit me at Furry Friends Animal Shelter today. A wave of mixed emotions flooded over Letty. Once again, Hunter had written a beautiful profile. She was glad because it meant that someone would hopefully adopt Kenzie soon. Yet Letty felt like she was letting Kennedy and Brisa down. More than that, she felt like she was letting the shelter down. She pulled out the profile she'd started on Bella, the fluffy black Pomeranian. I don't know why I thought I could be a shelter scribe, she mumbled. Your profile for Finn was awesome. You just need to write them faster, Kennedy said. It's Friday already. You need to get as many profiles as possible today for the weekend. Kennedy looked at her watch. Come on, Brisa, we have to go help make feather toys. Be there in a second, Brisa said, hanging back with Letty, as Kennedy walked off toward the multipurpose room. I think she's mad at me, Letty said. No, she's not. She just really wants you to beat Mr. Shruggy Llama and Mario. It's Kennedy. She doesn't like to lose. Remember that soccer match we played against Mario's team and he accused her of a handball? Letty nodded. She remembered the game. We won that game. Why is she holding a grudge? We are talking about Kennedy and Mario. They are like 2 stubborn goats, Brisa said. Brisa shook her head. Enough about them. I have to go to the cat room, but first I want to talk because you have this loca look in your eyes, like you want to quit. I hear it in your voice, too. Letty wondered how Brisa became such a great mind reader. Hunter was just too good. He could do a better job for the animals. She regretted signing up to be a shelter scribe. His profiles are better than mine, Letty said. No es verdad, Brisa said. It is true. Do you remember that I didn't want to do this camp? Letty grimaced, just thinking back to how hard she had to work to convince, more like beg, Brisa that enrolling in the camp would be better than ELL summer classes. Then she had to sell the idea to Brisa's family and her own family, who had to pay $200 for them both to be there. For Brisa's family, $200 wasn't that much, because her father was an engineer for one of the biggest firms in town. But for Letty's family, it was a lot of money, especially when ELL summer camp was free. I only joined because of you, Brisa said. If you start to doubt, I will doubt. It's tougher than I thought, Letty said. Tough? Brisa said, narrowing her eyes at Letty. Tougher than leaving your grandparents and cousin to come here? Or do you mean tough, like not being invited to birthday parties with amazing cupcakes and extra cheesy pizza that everyone talks about the next day in class? And just like that, a light went on in Letty's head. She felt ashamed to be making excuses. If anyone knew tough, it was definitely her and Brisa. Focus on those sweet puppies and precious gatitos. Be their voice. How? Letty started when suddenly Brisa interrupted her with high-pitched meows. Meow, meow, please find me a home. Meow, meow, I don't want to stay in the shelter forever. Meow, write for me. Brisa, Letty laughed. Yeah, stop already. Brisa gave her a satisfied smile. Letty knew that with Brisa around, complaining did no good. I will finish Bella's profile today, then I'll write for the cats. You can help me with those. Sí, por supuesto. I can tell you anything you want to know about Bandit and Lorca. Bandit is a tornado with whiskers. Lorca thinks he is a lion. Hunter could never write about them, but you can. Nos vemos, amiga. Brisa walked off and then stopped and turned to face Letty again. Letty, I just realized I don't remember how to say give up in Spanish anymore. Do you? Letty scanned her brain. She panicked, letting out a gasp. I don't remember it, Brisa. Let's keep it that way. Brisa swaggered down the hallway toward the cat room, leaving Letty feeling like she'd been lifted up by a strong, cool wind. That's the end of that chapter. The next chapter is chapter 10. It's called Colossally Perfect, and we will be starting on page 72. We've already read 71 pages, and it's only been, 3 days so far. Yay, us. All right, I hope everyone has a nice rest of their day, and I will see you tomorrow.